Good morning and welcome to our today's lesson. I'm Meshack Kodiko, a teacher of biology. We are in our previous lesson, we were looking at response, reception, and coordination in plants and animals. We are going to continue having looked at some of the terms that are used in the organisms. We have talked about irritability, we talked about response, we talked about the stimulus. Now that we can be able to coordinate all those activities, we want to look at how response, reception, response, and coordination occurs in plants. But in this case, or today's lesson, we're going to talk about irritability in plants. How do plants respond to changes in their immediate environment in this case? So, what we have said that response in plants is not as pronounced as that in animals. So what do I mean by this? I'm trying to say that response in animals is more elaborate. Why is it elaborate? Because there are many activities, or the activities within the animals take place very fast and quickly. But response in plants is not as elaborate as that, and we are going to see why is it that response in plants is not as elaborate as that in animals. This does not mean in any way diminish the importance of irritability in plants. That means that even though it is not as pronounced as that in animals, it is also important to the plants to coordinate and bring about changes in their immediate environment. It is important to their survival as in the case of animals, and therefore plants respond to a variety of stimuli in their environment. This could include the light, just like in animals. Plants can respond differently to light, moisture, availability, gravity, and even certain chemicals. So some plants also show responses to touch, like we are going to see when we talk about plants like, let's say, Mimosa pudica. That is, when you touch it, why does it fold its leaves? In plants, the irritability is shown by what we are calling tropisms. What do we mean by a tropism? Plants often respond by growing in a particular direction, what sometimes we refer to as unidirectional source of stimuli. It can be light from one direction. So when I talk about a particular direction here, then there is a specific direction from which the stimuli will come. Such growth movements are called tropisms. It is just a growth movement. We know very well that a plant cannot move from place to place, but still can displace its parts. So the growth curvatures, we call them tropism. They are as a result of unequal growth in the part of the plant that responds. So we're going to see that the stimulus causes an equal distribution of growth hormones, and an example is auxins. So the one that we always know is IAA, and IAA in this case, IAA is indole acetic acid. Indole acetic acid, an example of auxin, indole acetic acid, which are produced by plants. This hormone here is produced at specific points, that is the growing shoot and the root. So there are specific points here. One side grows more than the other, resulting in a bend either towards the stimulus, that is when it is positive towards the positive tropism, or away from the stimulus, what we are calling negative tropism. So I said that the stimulus can be towards the response can be towards the stimulus or away from the stimulus. Then let us look at the first one. In this, we are talking about phototropism. Photo here means light, and tropism is growth curvature. So how does the light cause a growth curvature? Light is automatically coming from one direction. For example, if a seedlings are exposed to light from one direction, what we are calling unilateral source of light, their shoots grow towards the light. That means that if the light is coming from one direction like that, and then you put it in a dark box or cardboard, there's a plant here. This plant will grow and bend towards the light. So we want to see how does this one happen. So if the light is coming from one direction, then there is that curvature, the growth curvature there, the bending. So when we're saying that shoots are said to be positively phototropic because they grow towards the light. So they are positively phototropic, growing towards the what? The light. Then the tip of the shoot receives the light stimulus from one direction, that is unilateral stimulus, but the response occurs below the tip. So this is what I mean. If light is shown at that point, we find that this light is going to cause the auxins that are at the tip here to migrate to the other side that is not having the light rays. So that lateral migration of light will cause this other side, the dark side, to have a larger or a higher concentration of auxin than the late side. So high concentration of auxin on this other side will cause that side to grow faster than the side that is late. Therefore, the bending will take place. So that is how phototropism occurs. So how does this happen? The response of the shoot is due to hormone called auxin produced at the tip. So it diffuses down the shoot to this zone of cell elongation where it causes cells to elongate. That is faster cell elongation on the tip. So light causes auxins to migrate to the darker side. As I was saying here, the light here, when it is shown on the tip, it will cause the auxins to move to the darker side. Having higher the darker side now will have a higher concentration of auxins than the late side. That high concentration will cause that side to have faster cell elongation than the late side. Hence, the tip curves towards the light. Now, auxin is more concentrated on the darker side than on the light side. The cells on the darker side grow faster than ones on the lighter side. A growth here, when we talk about this, a growth curvature is therefore produced, which is what we are calling that growing towards the light. You can ask yourself, why is this important to the plant? So when I talk about the importance of tropism to the plant, that is positive phototropism by shoots ensure that sufficient sunlight is absorbed by plants for photosynthesis. So that is the importance of that. So when the plants grow towards the light, then they are going to have maximum sunlight, which is suitable for the process of photosynthesis. So next time we shall look at other tropic responses that are shown by this stimulus or the external light, so that we are able to now make out the difference between these two. Thank you for listening to our lesson of today, and welcome next time.